All right. Thank you so much for hanging out. And if you want to share and you want to use a hashtag, feel free to use a hashtag D2D Nation. That's how I will know that you shared. Okay. Just make sure you use that. All right. And how was your weekend? How's everyone's weekend? How was everyone's weekend? Leave a comment and let me know. Now, we're talking about real estate investing and real estate wholesaling here. That's what we're talking about. It's a investing strategy. Okay. It's an investing strategy that doesn't require cash, doesn't require capital, outside of just marketing. Okay. Outside of a few dollars you use or you leverage to find deals. Okay. But I'm going to teach you here how you can find deals. Okay. I'm going to teach you how to find deals that investors want. Okay. I'm going to teach you here how to find deals that investors want. With that being said, there's a software that I use. It's called PropStream, and you want to go ahead and make sure you get your hands on it at empirebigdata.com. All right. And the last thing I want to share before we dive into today's lecture is that we do have a group for the community. It's called D2D Nation. So if you go to facebook.com/groups/D2D Nation, you'll be able to join the group and basically pay attention to any post you post there. We'll take it from there. More importantly, we hang out here 4 p.m. every weekday from Monday through Thursdays. All right. I do have other things I do the rest of the week, just not real estate. Okay. So welcome. Thank you so much. Please comment. Let me know who's hanging out with me. Comment. Let me know. Just tell me your name, where you're plugging in from. If you want me to use a county, I'll go ahead and use a county. If not, I'm going to dive right into Fresno County. In another 30 seconds here, we dive right into Fresno County in California to see what's going on there and see their opportunities that we can take advantage of. I'm also going to share some tools with you here today. I'm going to go ahead right away and share my screen so we can get to work. Okay. As you notice, I think about 48 states have started to open business back up. That's something that you absolutely have to take notice of, because if they're opening business back up, that tells you what? Money is, people are going to start spending money again. And if you're well positioned for that, then you can take advantage of it. Okay. So make sure you're well positioned to take advantage of the coming market that's coming right now. Pardon me for a second here. Okay. All right. So we're going to Fresno County, I guess. Let me make sure that's where I want to go. Basically you can flip houses nationwide from anywhere in the country. The deal here is that you're finding deals. Okay, you're finding deals because investors essentially, they make their money when they buy, not when they sell. Okay, not by speculating. They make their money when they buy. Okay, so as a matter of fact, I think let's see. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go to Fresno County today, and basically you can do this anywhere in the nation. You can do this anywhere in the nation. But there's a certain way that I pick market, but there's multiple different factors in that. And right now, I'm just going to share the factors, the different criterias that's ideal for an investor. And your job is to find this situation. So if you go to empirebigdata.com, you'll be able to get access to the software for 7 days for free and play around with the same thing you're about to see me do here today. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right. We're going to Fresno County. So not Fresno, California. I think that may be a town, but Fresno County. So we start from a county level. That's the records, right? Real estate records are stored at the county level. So like that. So when you type it out with a county, it pops up, and you just want to click into that. All right. So there are 300 plus thousand records, properties. Okay. You can see that right here, 300,000 plus. Okay. But of properties, not necessarily homes, not necessarily standalone homes, not necessarily single family homes, not necessarily, just all properties, including mixed use, including doctor's offices, including all types of zones, right? So, but in this business that I'm going to teach you, the idea is you want to operate where there's volume of demand, the most volume for demand, which is basically homes, right? So we're talking single family homes. We're talking about multi-family homes up to 4 family. Anything above 4 family is essentially a commercial property. Okay. And if a property has a shop or anything commercial in it, even if people live on top of it, that's a mixed use property. If it's a doctor's office, even though there may be a bathroom and a kitchen in there, that's probably zoned a commercial. Okay. So in other words, there's going to be additional headache. Headaches are not necessarily a bad thing. Basically, problems are not a bad thing in this business. But we have to find the sweet spot between too much headaches and enough market. Okay, if you know what I mean. And that's basically the goal of these classes. I want you to get used to this because again, I'm buying houses. I have a network of people buying houses. As long as it makes sense as long as we can make money. So basically, we have to reverse engineer back. We have to reverse engineer back to some money, to money in our pocket, in your pocket as well as a wholesaler. A wholesaler is a person that locks a property up under contract and sell the equitable interest protected by the contract. Okay. So basically, anytime real estate exchange hands, it starts with a contract. That's a purchase contract. Two people agreeing to a transaction. One person is a buyer, one person is a seller. You're kind of like in the middle, but you start off being a buyer. Okay, so you approach homeowners and offer to buy their property. Now, these people need to be selling at a significant discount for it to make sense, because remember, we make money when we buy. But why would somebody in their right mind want to sell their property at a discount? I know why, and you probably know why too, right? Well, not necessarily because they're not in their right mind, but because sometimes life will throw you a curveball, and the only option you have, or one of the options you have, is to sell the property at a discount. Okay. And you sell at a deep discount. And why? You're basically giving away money, but that's because you don't have time. Okay. So, for example, if you're facing foreclosures, like somebody stopped making their payments 2 months ago, in about 30 days from now, the bank, if it's in New Jersey, it varies depending on the state, the bank will file a document at the bank called the notice of default or lease pending. I'm going to show that here in a second. And they will file that, and that becomes a public record, and that becomes a person that becomes a distressed owner of a property. So our target is distressed owners of a property. We show up to solve their problem by buying property that's a headache away from them. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start showing you that as we go through here right now. Okay, so as you can see, there are 2,195 properties on the MLS. That's the multiple listing systems that the licensed agents use. That's not where we're going to be operating, but it's good to know that people are buying and selling properties in that area. I probably would like to see at least 1,000 in this market, okay, in order to know that this is a market I want to go into, okay. There's also 502 pre-foreclosures. Pre-foreclosure, as I just explained, is somebody who is already late on their payment, but they're not already foreclosed on, okay. So after pre-foreclosure, during the course of the pre-foreclosure, they will schedule a date to auction the property, but not right away, okay? So as you can see, there are properties already late on payment here, but there are 78 of them already scheduled for auction, a foreclosure auction. After it's foreclosed on, if somebody buys the property, right, then it becomes the owner, that person becomes the new owner, right? But if the bank could not sell it, sometimes the owner would owe too much money on the property, and the bank would not be able to sell the property right there at the auction. Then the bank will still take the property back from the homeowner. They will still foreclose essentially, and basically they buy the property, that's what foreclosure means. They buy the property from the auction. They take the property away from the owner. All right, and after that point, then it's called foreclosure, and that's what you see 197 here. But a property that's taken back by a bank because somebody could not buy it is called a REO, real estate owned by a bank. Okay. All right. So the other list you have here is we need to see this list. See, this tool is created for investors and wholesalers. We need to see these tools because when you lock up a property under contract, ideally, you want to be able to sell it to a cash buyer. A cash buyer is an investor, a person that's looking for properties to buy so they can add value to the property and then resell it to the marketplace. If you've ever heard of fix and flips, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So this market, Fresno County, California, is showing 37,000 buyers. Okay. I like to see about 10,000 minimum in this location. In any county before I can go market in that county. Okay. So there are 37,000, but not all of them are probably not active right now. Okay. In the last 1 year, the people that actually purchased the property for cash in the last, and those properties are residentials, right? And the kind of properties that we're looking to pick up, those are more of the active people that we will go after. When I say go after, I mean find their information, call them, and let them know we have a property that we just locked under contract at a purchase price that's significantly discounted. Minimum of right now in the middle of this pandemic, you probably need at least about 45%. Okay. That means you don't want to be paying more than 55% of what the property is worth. And if it needs repair, you need to deduct the repair estimate cost from that 55%. So case in point, okay, I have a tool here called dealestimator.com. It's free. All right. Estimator.com. All right. This tool right here, it's a tool that I use personally. It's right on our website, just dealestimator.com. And you can use this to create a maximum allowable offer. But like I said, in a regular typical market, you don't want to pay more than 65 to 70% of a property's worth, but adjusted for the cost of repairs, right? So I'm going to go here, start a new calculation, right? And then you see here it defaults to 65%, right? I need to know what the property is worth. Okay, so I'm going to come back here later and use one of the examples, right? But I need to know if it needs small rehab, or it needs medium rehab, or it needs full rehab. This tool is good for wholesalers, okay? If you're a fix and flipper, you need to do a much more elaborate repair estimate, okay? But if you're talking to a homeowner, a seller, and they tell you it needs a little bit of work, maybe just carpeting and stuff like that, then you can use small rehab. Well, it needs some kind of work. We need to change the roof. Is it livable? Yes, it's livable. Then you use the medium rehab, right? If they say no, it needs full gut rehab, then you need to use that one, right? So for example, if this was, let's say this property was worth $300,000, right? As you can see, automatically this calculator needs to be at least $10,000. If it's not at least $10,000, you shouldn't be looking at it. Personally, that number needs to be after repair value of more than $200,000 for me, okay? But let's just use $300,000, okay? All right, so when you say it needs full rehab, that's estimated at about $75,000. Just estimate. It could be more, it could be less. Just estimate so you can lock up a good deal, right? And just off of that is telling me that the maximum allowable offer is $120,000, and it's suggesting that I start my negotiations at $118,000. Now, it's automatically also already put a potential wholesale assignment fee you can make from that at $20,000. Okay, it could be more, it could be less, but that's the idea. You just want to make sure that there's numbers here. There are numbers here, right? Potential investor gross profit to be about $87,000. Potential net profit about $66,000. This is just keeping it simple. So in order to find this number, this is the main number you need to find, the after repair value. You need to know what's going on in that market. We use the same tool, okay, which is EmpireBigData.com if you want to sign up, but it's called PropStream, okay? With that being said, if you scroll down to the bottom here, you can see here that there's money to be made. A lot more money than anyone can make from a 401k, IRA, anything like that, just for finding deals. Your cash on cash return on investment, if you're a wholesaler who is not going to do this work, is going to be a lot more than that. So think about it. If you spend $500 and you make $20,000, what is that return on investment? What is that cash on cash return on investment? Let's do that real quick. The profit will be 19,500 divided by 500. Multiply that by 100. You're talking about 3,900% return on investment. Why? Because you're investing time and you're probably not factoring time yet. You're finding deals. You're a marketer essentially, okay? All right, so that's that. Just wanted to make sure I share some fundamental really quickly as a review. I have done 8 episodes. So this should be probably the 9th episode. Yes, 9th episode. All right, so we hang out here from 4 p.m. to 4:55 every Monday through Thursdays, okay? So now let's dig in through this data, okay? Let's walk our way backwards today. So let's look at potential people that would want to buy this property or buy the rights to the contract from us before we look at deals. Okay. All right, that's fair. So let's look at cash buyers. Let's see if we, I'm going to click into this box. Okay. And that will be my quick list. Okay. And you see that this number changes to 37,000. These are properties purchased for cash. Okay. But it goes as far back as the system knows. So we need to filter down to just the last 1 year. Okay. So I'm going to go under ownership. Okay. And last sales dates need to be within the last 1 year. Okay. And those are the only people I would like to deal with as far as cash buyers are concerned, because the more recent it is, the more active, the higher the chances they are active. Okay. And I'm going to go just exactly 1 year into the past, May 2019 on the 18th, right? So when I do that, it automatically drops my number. So there are 2,297 people that actually bought properties for cash. They paid cash. Now, there are many reasons why people could pay cash, right? It could be because they are fix and flippers, in which case we need to have their contact information just in case we find a deal in that location. I'm just looking for looking sake right now. I'm not going to find their contact information right now unless I actually lock up a contract, because the stages are data, contact, leads, contract, deals, right? So between leads and deals, there's contract, right? Unless I have the problem of a lead that I've locked under contract, I'm not going to look any further. I just need to see that there are at least about 1,000 properties purchased for cash in the last 1 year in that location. It tells me that there are investors willing to buy a contract if I find a good deal. Okay. Now, that's not enough. Remember what I told you, I need this to be residential. So under property classifications, I need this to show to be residential only. Everything else will be suppressed. So commercial buildings, office buildings. Remember I told you about like doctor's office and stuff. That will probably be classified as a doctor's office. Now, if I find a deal from that kind of place, I don't mind, but it's much more likely not. Okay, most of the deals come from residential properties. Okay, so because of that, I'm not going to spend my marketing resources looking for deals that are office buildings. Okay, industrial, same thing. Agricultural, recreational, same thing goes. A deal can come from any of this randomly. I just don't want to deliberately spend my marketing resources looking for deals. So I suppress everything else and I keep it just residential. Then I go under property types. I need it to be single and multifamily 2 to 4. I do not like condos and townhouses because of the interest of the buildings. Okay, so I've never really taken the time to explain one of the reasons. Okay, when you have a condo or a co-op or anything that's inside of an apartment building, kind of, the interest is not just the homeowners. The people that own the building also have a significant amount of interest that they retain even when they sell a co-op, that tend to create headaches that I'm not willing to chase after. Okay. Now, again, if one of these deals falls in my lap, I will assess it and see if there's money to be made in there. Okay. I'm just letting you know they have all kind of stipulations like first right to buy, first right of refusers, and things like that. I don't want to deal with. I may actually be butchering the terminologies right now because for the past 15 years, I simply avoid condos in terms of marketing to them. Okay. Exclude here where it says another way I do that is I exclude homeowners association. Anything that has homeowners association is very likely that it's in an apartment building somewhere. Okay. And I exclude it. I don't want to deal with that. Okay. So I need people, especially when I'm searching for sellers. Okay. So, but right now we're just looking at the cash buyers. So it's not that much of an issue. Okay, so I'm going to close this filter. Now it's down to 678 people that actually purchased a property within the last 1 year. Okay, now here's another thing that I wanted to see if it's possible. I'm going to try something in front of you under here where it says okay, yeah, I think I tried that last time and this number does not It's not exactly related to the sales price. It's much more related to the value of the property, the estimated value of the property. And I said I was going to suggest to PropStream to see if they can put in a number that's going to be the percentage, the ratio of the purchase price to the valuation of the property, as opposed to equity, which is lien against the property, meaning loan owed against the property. Like if there's any loans or liens against the property, the percentage of that to the value, that's what creates equity, right? But we need another number that's much more related to sales price. Okay, now there's a growth number here. I don't think that's related either, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to X out. But we have 678 buyers, okay, specifically residential. And that's perfect. That's enough people to skip trace their number in case I lock up a contract in this area. I will skip trace their number, get on the phone, get on the text messages, and send these people and let them know that I have a deal that they may want. If your deal is not a deal, they will ignore your text messages. If it's a good deal that sounds attractive enough, they will call you, and then they will pay you handsomely. That's where deals comes from. All right. Is that making sense? That making sense? All right. So I see that we have some shy people here today. That's fine. All right. So right now I'm going to clear all. Well, I don't have to clear. I'm just going to go here. I'm going to change the quick list to pre-foreclosures. That's where I like to start from. Now, if we have some time today, I will go start from vacant and see what we can do with that. Okay. All right. So the other criteria is that I already have residential, 2 to 4 family. So now I'm looking for sellers, not buyers. I've made sure there's enough people that can buy a good deal from me from this market in case I find something. Okay. So now I need to find sellers. Essentially, I need to market. One of the mistakes that people make is when I say find, they think they have to manually do that. No, this is marketing, and you want to use as much automation as possible. AKA, you're seeing me hanging out right now. I'm using the same software. You don't have to go to a county house. Okay. It's 2020 and things are definitely improving in your favor. The only work involved is you cannot be lazy about analyzing the data, and which is why I hang out here every day and doing this with you. I'm also getting to know all the different counties around the nation, and a lot of information are being confirmed based on what I have seen in the past, just by analyzing this data and seeing it. Okay, so we already have this criteria, which is property characteristics stacked in our favor. Only residential, single family, multifamily, 2 to 4. So we got to go to MLS status. Absolutely, I don't want to market to anybody that has the property listed on the market. So this needs to be a no. Okay. If it's listed with an agent, I do not want to market to them. I don't mind dealing with them as usual, but I don't want to market to them. Okay. Because I have limited resources, and my goal is to make that resource unlimited. And the way I do that is by being resourceful. Okay. So I take a little bit of time, invest a little bit of time on using the software and filter out all houses on the market just by simply doing that. Okay. All right. So now when I do that, let's see here. Let me close this. You see, it's telling me my properties are down to 4. Okay. All right. So that's a little weird, but let's go take a closer look. Okay. Chances are I have some other things here that I need to take out, and I can take them out right now by hovering over the red X and take them out. This is perfect. All right. This is perfect. So that date was suppressing a bunch of properties. So now it's increased back to 360. Okay. The date was the date that I set in when I was looking at the cash buyers. I wanted only active cash buyers in the last 1 year, but that's not necessarily the case when I'm looking for sellers, right? So let's keep going. MLS status. So we got to go to pre-foreclosure, right? And set some criteria. We don't want everything foreclosure. We want pre-foreclosures to be specific. So we click that, we drop that down. And I only want notice of default. Remember, when a person is late in New Jersey, when they're late for 3 months, 60 to 90 days, they file a notice of default with the court, the county court, right? And that's what this is. It's public record. You have access to that list, but online now today, right? Back in the days, you would have to go to the courthouse, right? But it's right here, notice of default. Now, if I don't select anything here, it's going to pull out everything here. I don't want everything here. I don't want houses that's already foreclosed on. I don't want bank-owned properties. That's essentially dealing with an agent, okay? I want the first three. Notice of default. I want auctions. And I want default releases, meaning once upon a time, maybe in the last few months or so, they were late, they filed, but they already caught up. But because they caught up doesn't mean they're not necessarily still interested in selling. So the idea here is not it's primarily I'm looking for properties to pick up at a discount. I'm not necessarily primarily looking for gotchas. So even when I'm having conversation with the sellers, unless they bring it up, I'm not going to talk about their foreclosure because that comes off creepy. Okay. All right. Is that making sense? All right. Please make sure you give it a thumbs up. If it makes sense, give it a thumbs up before you leave. Thank you so much. All right. So that's that right there. That's all I really do there. I don't set an auction date because that suppresses a bit too much. So I'm going to close that criteria. I'm going to go to ownership info. Ownership info. Years of ownership, I prefer it to be a minimum of 5, possibly 7, depending on how big the county is and how big the data is. Fresno County is right under 1 million people that live there. So it's not like if I'm looking at a pre-foreclosure list right now, 360 is not a lot already. So I just keep it at 5. Okay. So ownership info, I need them to have owned the property for a minimum of 5 years. Why? Because I want them to be clear and know that they need to sell. Okay. I'd rather just market to those people. Now, that's negotiable. Okay. Somebody could own a property from just last month and I'll deal with them. Again, these are just criteria to filter my list down to whatever my budget is based on how many counties I'm trying to target. Okay. So 5 years of ownership, anything else is removed from my list. I also like to go under the ownership type and only deal with individuals, properties owned by LLCs and stuff like that. I don't like to market to them. Okay. And for one, it's harder to skip trace them. Skip trace meaning finding their contact information, phone numbers, email. It's harder to find them because there's a reason why people use LLCs. It's partly to hide identity. Primarily, of course, legally, it's supposed to protect one's the owner of the LLC from liabilities. But again, and to make it easier, when you're skip tracing, using the softwares that skip trace right inside of this same software, you are more likely to find a phone number when it's an individual name on the property, on the ownership of records for the property. So that's another thing that I use to suppress it. Okay. So last sales date, I don't that's going to be, remember, it's going to be 5 years into the past so there's no need to touch this number, this one right here, right? I do include unknown sales dates. That's fine. They're usually insignificant and usually lower competition of marketers that market to them. Okay. So that's why I leave that on there. Depending on how big my list is, sometimes I'll take it out, right? Then I'll go on the lien bankruptcies. These are additional reasons why people will need to sell. However, there are some specific things that I like to suppress. If there's an active bankruptcy lawsuit in the courts, usually that means the property is locked up in the lawsuits and they can't sell right now. So I like to say has active bankruptcy. I suppress that, not target, but suppress status. Okay. That's where I put that. Okay. But this is also a place where you can, if you needed only all divorce, you needed only active liens and things like that, this is where you would target them. Okay. So if you want to play around with different types of lists and you start closing deals and you want to really just play around with more stuff, there's small options there. But I'm keeping it simple while I'm still taking the time to go through narrowing down the data. Okay, specific lien types here. If you wanted only tax liens, you wanted homeowners association tax liens. So you may be in a position where you know somebody who specializes in clearing up homeowners association liens and getting you the property owners, and then you can find some good deals. And this would be that list right there. Mechanic liens, right? That's contractor liens that is slapped against the property by an owner who did not pay them after completing some work. That's called mechanics. Utility lien like PSE&G, power company liens, solar liens, same thing. Child support liens are serious issues for a lot of people out there, right? But I'm just going to have all of them on there, okay? If I needed to stack more, let's say the list was too big. Let's say I had 10,000 people on this list, and I've gone through all these criteria I'm going through, and I wanted to narrow down to not too many. Then I can stack it. I can stack tax lien. Like these people must have tax lien in addition to a mortgage lien that's already late, right? So that's what those things are there for. Play around with that. It's a lot of fun to play around with, okay? All right, so I'm going to go to valuation and equity. I like to see a minimum of 50% equity. It's not compulsory, okay? But if they have a minimum of 50% equity, I won't have to do a short sale in order to get the deal when they're motivated, right? If they owe way more than that, if they owe 100% of what the property is worth, then you have to negotiate short sales and craziness with the bank, which I don't mind. I'm just saying, if I don't have to, why should I do that? Short sales can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 years. It's just another file on your table in case you find one. We do short sales, but I'd rather not if I have to make a choice. Okay. So when it comes to marketing to them, I spend my marketing dollars marketing to easy deals. Okay. All right, easy deals. Yep. So let's do a quick story time. How's that? Let's do a quick story time. I haven't done a story time in a while, and I think we should do story time. This is story time right here. Okay. All right. So pick this out. Okay. I was doing a deal in Irvington, New Jersey. This was this got to be 2007, I think. 2007. So I'm actually going to go find that property right now. Let me go find that property. It's 192, I think. And it's I'm trying to think right now. 19th Avenue, I think. 19th Avenue is right next to Parkway over there. Let me see if I remember. Irvington, New Jersey. Let me see if that's the, yep. See, Garden State Parkway is right there, right next to this property. I'm going to click into it. All right. So let's have some fun with this one. All right. So this was a property. So, I was doing a rehab. It was a fix and flip and on that same street. All right. Perfect. I'm going to go into the picture. And I'm actually going to use this virtual driver to drive through the property. Perfect. It's the actual property. Very small house, right next to this parking lot, right there. Is this one right here. And move to the side. Is this property right here. Okay. This property right here. Okay. I did that rehab. I did the sidings. I did the windows. I was the one that put the garden. This was back in, and it's actually interesting that the same picture is still there. All right. So it was a rundown house, squatters, and things like that, craziness, drug infested street, and I had a partner on this deal, and we had two other partners. I think I made 15 grand. My two other partners each individually made 15 grand each. But as I was doing this rehab, I was hanging out here. A couple of things happened. This is actually a historic building here. I was just hanging out on the street. We're talking. My car was parked right next to this area. And there's a guy that came out of this property. I'm going to show you the property right now. I'm going to drive up a little bit. All right. This property right here. Okay. So we're hanging out on the street and this property right here. I think it may be a property on this land. There's an empty land right now. I think it may be the one on this land. It's probably demolished right now. Okay. So it's probably this or one that was here that looks like it's demolished right now. And the gentleman came out and said, "You guys are doing this rehab?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." It's like, "Yeah, I'm looking to sell my property." Okay. Now, here's the fun part about real estate. When you are just targeting and just doing your marketing, um, sometimes deals will just fall on your lap. Random deals, right? And and this guy was actually a realtor. Okay, he was a realtor, and but he couldn't. He was looking to get rid of the property, and I was like, okay, I'll take a look at it. And I took a look at it. I said, you know what? I'll lock it up under contract right now. I lock it under contract, and within like 48 hours, somebody else was interested in the property. It was a $30,000 deal. Okay, net to me, net. Now, I didn't have to do any short sales. Most of the deals I was doing back then was mainly short sales, which means the seller owed too much money. I have to go negotiate with the bank. Okay. This one was flipped right away, and basically we did the deal. Now, I had a lawyer that I used to use a lot back then, and I was a lot more comfortable. It was within the first 2 years of me doing real estate, because I started in 2005. And the lawyer was, he took care of my deals. If he had to come on the road, there were times that we just drive on the road, we park right next to the street, he would get the papers signed. Sometimes, back then, as far back as then, DocuSign wasn't a thing. It wasn't, right? So you have to get somebody on the road, and then I don't know. But basically what happened was that my lawyer found out that my seller's attorney, he insisted he wanted to use as attorney, right? Which is not normally my case. Most of my cases are short sales. They don't care about the property. You just need to sign it off, right? So they don't care about being represented by a lawyer for the most part. But this person did not owe money to the bank that was late or anything like that. So he wanted to use his lawyer. And I said, okay, we're not stealing, we're not cheating, we're not lying. We don't have a problem doing that. The only thing is that wholesaling, as you can imagine, even back then, it's an out of the box strategy, right? So a lawyer that's probably too anal, that's not investor friendly, will frown at it, and But I was like, no, it doesn't matter. Worst case scenario, the deal will fall through. We will learn something new, right? And then we'll keep it moving. That's basically what I thought. And my lawyer was like, "This guy's a magistrate. I'm not sure if we should do this deal." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I asked him, "This is my lawyer." And I said, "Are you trying to tell me that everything I've been doing, that you've been doing for me, has been illegal?" And he was like, "No, no, I'm just saying, I'm just not." He was like, "Okay, don't worry about it. Ola, we just go do it, right?" So we pulled up to South Orange Avenue in Orange. No, in South Orange. South Orange Avenue in South Orange was this guy's office. The guy was a lawyer, of course, but he's also partly part-time magistrate at a magistrate court. So I guess he was just like kind of like taken aback. He was kind of scared. Let me just use that word. He was scared. I was like, no, unless you're telling me everything we're doing is illegal, let's go do it. We showed up to the closing, which is at this guy's office, and the guy basically looked at. Excuse me. The guy looked at the deal. He looked at two deals. It was double closing, basically. All right. Excuse me. All right. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Just wanted to make sure I capture that. All right. So basically, we showed up there. There were two sides of the closing. So if you know anything about double closing, there are two closings basically going on 60 minutes apart. Let's just say that, right? 60 minutes apart. It's back to back closing, right? And it's looked like, okay, this number, this money go here and this money goes here. This money, okay, we look good. And he signed it. 30 grand check. I walked out of the place just like that. No headache. Okay. Why did I share that story with you? Well, first of all, to inspire you, okay, that you should keep marketing. You should market. Because if you do that, you will create chances that other deals will fall on your lap. That's the point I was making there. Okay. So now we're down to 108 properties. Now, let's get off the storytelling mode. If you like that story, if that was inspiring, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Okay. But the point, let me re-stress the point. The marketing, most of your deals will come from your marketing, but you will get lucky once in a while. You will increase your chance of getting lucky once in a while just because you're out there on the street, your postcards are out there on the street, your text message from you is out there on somebody's phone, and all the time. Just a few days ago, people will dig up a contract from 2 months ago, even though they ghosted you 2 months ago, and they say, hey, I'm ready to sell. That happens all the time. Okay. So with that being said, let's go in here. Like we said, valuation, I prefer 50%. These are the criteria. Okay. Residential, single family, multi-family up to 4 family, exclude all homeowners association, off-market deals only, notice of default, lease pendants essentially means the same thing depending on what state you're in. Auctions, okay, I don't want auctions, so I definitely made a mistake here. This should not include auctions. So I'm going to go back here. I think I selected, oh yeah, I want auctions. I don't want bank owned. Auction means it's already scheduled for auction. That's all that means, okay? All right, 5 or more years, owned for the last 5 or more years, right? Individually owned. I don't want corporate owners unless I need more on my list. I need at least 100 at any point in time that I'm pulling list. All right, and you can see I already have up to 108 here, right? So after I've done that, all I have to do is select all. I don't need any more information that I already see here. I select all, I will add to a list, then I will go through these steps. I don't want to go through these steps because I have personal information here. It's added to a list, it's now under properties, then contact information will show up here. Once you go through skip tracing, they have the option to skip trace it right here. And then you can set up campaigns to send out a postcard, okay, 58 cents a piece. The skip tracing to find their phone number, okay, that's you find their phone number and their email address. That's basically about 30 cents, okay. That makes 88 cents, right? All right, so for 101, for 108 records, right, multiply that by 88 cents. Okay, I could do that right here too. Okay, 0.88 multiplied by 108. All right, that will be $95 that I will basically spend, and I'm able to create outreach to this 108 people for the next 1 month. My job is to focus on finding these people for the next 1 month, okay, and just have conversations, negotiations back and forth, starting with making sure I'm talking to the right person. Like, for example, I will say, John, question mark. And then I'll say, hey, are you open to an offer on your property? I'm making a few offers in the area. If you're open to an offer on your property at 123 Main Street, and then they will tell you hell no, or they'll tell you no, I'm not selling, or it's not for sales, or how did you find my number, or it depends on the offer. And to say yes, like then I'll say, when is a good time we can jump on the phone, right? That's the conversation. You're looking for deals. You are a buyer. You're doing them a favor. Remember, these properties are facing foreclosure. They're vacant, right? Well, they're not exactly vacant, but some of them are vacant. So if I go under this filter, let's say this list was too big, right? I could go here and select only vacant, and that would drop the list down potentially significantly, okay? So it drops it down to 4, okay? So I personally think in California, the vacant data is not good, or this neighborhood is just that good, okay? Potentially that's possible. So 4 properties vacant. If your budget was 4 properties, you know, I don't advise that. You need to have at least $100 to spend per month on marketing to make it worthwhile, so you can feel the momentum that you're actually in business. If not, this will just be another thing that will fall on the sideways. you need numbers in your favor, because not every people will respond to you with a deal. Not every records will become a deal. There's a certain percentage, lower than 10%, that will become deals, depending on what part of the business you're in, depending on how far you've been doing the business, how long ago have you been doing the business. Sometimes you're fifth month into doing deals, and then you will see all the marketing you did 3 months ago. All of a sudden, they're calling you. That's the cumulative effect of marketing consistently. That's why I laugh at people that come in this game and try it for 1 day or 2 day or 1 month, and then they quit and say it doesn't work. I just laugh, because there's a lot more, obviously, and anything that's worth having is not, you can't, it's not relevant or easy or hard. Okay, it's just a matter of it's simple and be consistent. Learn the skill set is simple, be consistent. Okay. So with that being said, if you have any questions right now, in another 4 minutes, we're rounding up. Okay. So I'm going to go here. So four properties is too low. I need it to be 100. All right. So in this neighborhood, there's probably not a lot of vacant properties, but clearly they're struggling because there's enough pre-foreclosures, right? So I can go there and find deals and help somebody get rid of a property. Okay. All right. All right. So here I can also, I'm going to put this back on any, so I can get my 108. Now I may decide I want to go, if my list was too big, I can add this factor, which is it owner occupied or not, right? Then I'll say non-owner occupied. And that will probably drop my list down to, let's see, 17. I think it says 17. 17, but there are 17 properties that are not owned by the people that live in there, okay? So that's another, if I needed to shrink my list from 1,000 or 500 down to 100, that's a good criteria to use. That's just another reason why somebody may want to sell at a discount, because they don't live in the property and it's facing foreclosure. And remember all these other criteria here, right? So so I'm going to put this back on any. Another one here is under ownership. You can go down here and say, I only want out of state owners. Okay. So if it's an area, see that there's no one in that area that owns a property out of state, not in that whole county, at least based on the data that I have access to. Is it possible that the software has glitches? Yeah, but I'm not worried about that. I'm using the simple information at my disposal, and that's it. Okay. So I'm going to take this out. I want everything. What about out of county, right? Out of county, right? These are 3 properties of people that actually live outside of the county that the property is in, right? So that's tight, but all people local, all locals are basically, sounds like everybody. Okay. Let me see. Okay, this says 14. I would just take out that. I would take that out basically. Okay. So ownership, and I would just go back here, and you can just take this out. There you go. So we have 108 properties now that we can potentially go after. Okay. So you have to list. You can have them skip trace it here at 30 cents a piece. Send a postcard right away at 58 cents a piece. That's your 95. Now you have data of records of people that can potentially sell your property in Fresno County over the next 1 month. 1 month later, you can come back and pull more data. You close one deal, you want to increase your bandwidth or your volume, you can simply save this filter. Okay, when you save it, you can literally go to another county. So if I use that same filter and I go to Middlesex County in New Jersey, county, right? So remember, the same filter is still on New Jersey. And then you will see that the numbers will change, but the same filter. So there are 481 properties that fit that criteria, the same exact criteria, because the filters are still on. All I did is change location. So you can save that search, and you can see all your saved search right here, and you can use it over and over again as often as you need. Okay. yeah, that's about it. That's some really cool stuff. That's how we play around with this data all day long. We test new markets and stuff like that from time to time. Okay. Um, Over here, it's this 481. If I would remember, as I was giving you an example, I can shrink that list down by saying non-owner occupied only, vacant properties only. And when I click close, I'm down to 10 properties. Okay. 10 properties that fit that list. Okay. So that's that. Just that's pretty cool. If you have any questions, I got about another 30 seconds. Thank you for hanging out with me. Majority of you is what we call monitoring spirit, because I don't see any comment. But thank you anyway, regardless. Please make sure you give it a thumbs up, okay, before you leave, and let everyone else that you think may benefit from this. You can make a lot of money in real estate doing this. Just simply doing this and just reaching out to these people and asking if they want to sell. They have real reasons why they need to sell. Okay, they have real reasons why they need to sell. Now, if you are brand new here, I do have a free book for you. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, if you're on YouTube. There's a free book at myEmpirePRO.com that I have for you. This book's right here. You can go download it for free. Okay. Real estate, well, Smart Real Estate Wholesaling. You can find it at smartrealestatewholesaling.com. Or you can go, if you go right now, I'll give you Real Estate Money Secrets for free. Okay. This is my second book here. They're both over 200 pages of everything you need to learn about this stuff so you can really soak yourself, immerse yourself, and learn this game. All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you on tomorrow. We'll be right here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Peace.